Welcome to the Lakeshore Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. As I look around this morning, it looks to me as if I am speaking to the choir, so I will not go through a lengthy welcome, because you all know you're welcome, right? I do want to say this. I was looking at our 7 principles, and one of them came across to me as particularly appropriate this morning: a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. And I found myself wondering if any of us know about Black contributions to healthcare. Is there anybody who thinks they have some knowledge of that? Well, then I think we're going to have a very important morning. We light this chalice as a symbol of the commitment to our fellowship and to each other. May our many sparks meet and merge in communion of heart and soul.
Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to share strength and fellowship. Thus do we covenant.
You may or may not remember that the theme of February is widening the circle. So this opening words from David Breeden sounded particularly helpful. These are the opening words. We gather into this circle. We gather into the circle of care. To dream, to envision, to embody and achieve the compassion we dream, the justice we envision, the dignity of each in an ever-growing circle of love and justice. Our first hymn is Come Sing a Song. We're ready for the reading.
So today's reading, I am in love with Unitarian Universalism that does not exist yet. Reverend Natalie Finmore. Shirley Chisholm was asked why she, a Black woman, was running for president. You don't have a chance. Why are you doing that? And she said, because I am in love with the America that does not yet exist. And that's how Unitarian Universalism is also. I am in love with Unitarian Universalism that does not yet exist. But I have to hold both the love for that thing and the love for the reality. It does not yet exist. It will probably not exist in my lifetime. I do not think it will in that of my children, but I can't deny my love for it. You know, wanting to be there in that struggle. That's why I'm fighting. Very thought-provoking words. And just a note on that, I was watching the masterclass on Amazon Prime it's on Black history and Black love. And they were talking about how Black women gained the vote in 1965 and how Shirley Chisholm must have pulled to arms very swiftly in that time, and just the work and legacy that she laid forth, as well as the recentness of the history of voting rights and all the challenges that we're experiencing in the country right now. Let us gather and turn ourselves to a moment in time for reflection. Spirit of life, Spirit of those who come before, those known, those unknown, those whose stories and legends may not be found, but are most assuredly felt as we empower ourselves, our world, and our industries. Spirit of those who invest in the healing work of mind, body, and souls in various professions of healthcare. We give you thanks. One of the most empowering gifts I gained from my decade as a Unitarian Universalist, as a parishioner, a director of religious education, and a ministerial candidate was the ability to name and claim more aspects of my faith and religious journey. In particular, that of ancestral worship. As a BIPOC, Black, Indigenous person of color, African American, this has always been a part of my spiritual heritage and birthright. And it has been something I was told by dominant Christian religion and culture was out of the ordinary. In Unitarian Universalism, I found it was part of my theological and spiritual practices I could and should embrace. In that spirit, I name and claim for all who are gathered here from wherever and whenever we are taking in these words, these sacred practices of knowing and embracing those who come before us. As a healthcare worker and a career chaplain, in this sacred time of reflection on Black America and the African diasporic people's contribution today and tomorrow, I want to look back to honor those whose footsteps I am in, whose shoulders allow me to reach new heights, and whose brilliance and perseverance I call upon, whose power and wisdom though not always welcome, were able to break down doors, barriers, and glass ceilings so that I and others can surpass and continue forth. Representation matters, says Patrice A. Harris, MD, the medical director in chief of Everyday Health and past president of the American Medical Association. As we amplify Black history in the context of a global pandemic, it is paramount that we celebrate Black pioneers who have made contributions in health space and cleared the path for others to follow. Our first brilliant mind was James McCune Smith. He was born into slavery in New York City in 1813 with hopes to become a doctor. Unable to attend American colleges, he went abroad to the University of Glasgow in Scotland, earning his bachelor's, master's, and medical degrees by 24. He mastered Greek, Latin, French, and had working knowledge of Hebrew, Italian, Spanish, and German. Returning to the United States in 1837, he started his own practice. He was the first African-American doctor to have his own practice and treated Black and white patients, and served as the chief doctor of the New York City Colored Orphans Asylum. He worked his whole life as an abolitionist to end enslavement in the South, and he died 3 weeks before the passing of the 13th Amendment in the Constitution, which gave an end to slavery. Rebecca Lee Crumpler graduated from Northeast Female Medical College in 1864. She was the first Black female physician in the United States. She opened a medical practice in Boston, and before college, Dr. Crumpler had worked as a nurse. She even wrote a book, the Book of Medical Discourse, published in 1883. She was one of the first publications about medicine written by an African American. These first two pioneers saw there was not a path and made their own. They did what they could to help their community and others. It is thanks to their perseverance and resilience, Black doctors and nurses have a seat and voice at the table, and representation like that of Grey's Anatomy and in Real Hospital like St. Luke's in Sinai, where I work in this area, as well as the Emory hospitals in Atlanta, Georgia, and countless other healthcare entities have many BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color as healthcare workers at all levels. They sought every opportunity to relieve the suffering of others. The legacy of brilliance and innovation continues with Dr. Daniel Hale Williams. He earned a medical degree and started working as a surgeon in Chicago in 1884. Hospitals at the time barred Black doctors from working on staff. So, Dr. Williams opened the nation's first Black-owned interracial hospital, Provident Hospital, offering training to African-American interns and establishing America's first school for Black nurses. On July 10, 1893, Williams successfully repaired a pericardium. That's the sac around the heart. The operation is considered to be the first documented successful open heart surgery on a human, and Williams is regarded as the first African-American cardiologist. He went on to co-found the National Medical Association and became the first Black physician admitted to the American College of Surgeons. The first heart surgeon committed the first successful open heart surgery on a human, and then thanks to his brilliance and wisdom, the next generation of medical brilliance and legacy continued. Otis Boykin patented 28 electronic devices during his career. He developed a resistor for electronic components that made the productions of television and computers much more affordable. He is best known for improving the pacemaker. Boykin came up with a control unit that regulated the pacemaker with more precision. They had a heart and brilliance for invention, from thinking outside of convention to do what had not been done before and to make their fields go to that next step and continue the journey. We should be concerned not only about the health of individual patients, but also the health of our entire society. Ben Carson. The contributions in healthcare are vast and broad. Black brilliance includes areas that we expect and ones we may not. Solomon Carter Fuller earned his medical degree in 1897 from Boston University. He became the first African-American psychiatrist. In 1904, he began pioneering work with psychiatrist and neuropathologist Elias Alzheimer's in Germany, studying traits of dementia. Dr. Fuller was the first to translate much of Alzheimer's work into English, including the research regarding August Dieter, the first person reported case of the disease. In the United States, Fuller continued research on Alzheimer's disease, as well as schizophrenia, depression, and other mental illnesses. In 1912, he published the first comprehensive review of Alzheimer's cases. Diversifying the field of work adds to the perspectives and realities that can be better understood. So, when we reduce harm as healthcare professionals and those of us who have bodies, minds, and souls and long for them to interact and engage the world in ways we know and ways we do not, we have many to be thankful for. Another such person is Patricia Booth, the first African American to complete an ophthalmology residency in New York University's School of Medicine in 1973, just under a decade after African American women won the right to vote. In the early 1980s, she studied laser technology and saw the potential for eye surgery. In 1986, she invented the laparoscopic probe, a device method for cataract treatments. When she patented the instrument in 1988, she became the first African-American female doctor to receive a patent for a medical invention. 1988, a mere 33 years ago. And great advancements have continued in those 33 years and will continue all throughout time, thanks to her work and countless others. Underestimating and presuming ineptitude of people is never okay. And in healthcare, when we do that, the consequences spread and we lose and neglect the advancements and growth of caring for all people. We do not know all of the great contributors of our day, of our lives, of time to come. And we must remember those who came before us, that we're destined for greatness as we all are. They may not be in the packages we expect or even in the embodiments we profess to need. And still, we must remind ourselves to give thanks and recognition to those who come before us, for we are indebted to them, collegially and in other ways, such as our life, our hearts, and our minds, to name a few. Be thankful for the time that you have on this earth. It is complicated, with ups and downs and sometimes frowns. Things do not always go the way that we want or profess we need them to go, and still they go forth. Today is the start of something new, something that has never been and will never be again. Treat it as such. Lean in and explore, catch and release it. May we find and seek more each day than the day before, not because we are unsatisfied or in need, rather because if our neighbors are suffering, we are suffering. If our earth is in crisis, we are in crisis. If any people are being displaced, we are all misplaced. Find ways to be satisfied and to find what is needed. Be present and even reduce the suffering of those you can. Look crises head on and find and make places and spaces for all who have been, all who are, and all who will be. Ashe, amen. Blessed be. Thank you.
Thank you. It was so good to hear the names that we did not know and the ancestors in quotation marks of all of us. And we are so thankful for them. And we're thankful for you.
As you were speaking, I was thinking about Henrietta Lacks the Black woman whose cancerous tumor cells have been used for the Hale line, which is an immortalized cell line that has been used in cancer research indefinitely. And of course, she did not know that they were using her cells, nor was her family made aware of this. If anybody has not had the chance to read her book about the Hale cells, it's just a wonderful book.
I recommend it. It was a really good book. Are there questions or comments for Lex?
Or stories to share about Cecile?
Although we've all struggled so much with COVID, one of the things that has been very interesting and enlightening to me as we listen to TV is the number of minority doctors, particularly women, who have been involved in research, who are a spokesperson for this terrible pandemic.
Yeah, there have been a lot of advancements and a lot of voices that are not often lifted up as consistently as they should be. And it's been very powerful to see that type of recognition happening in our career, in our field.
Shall we sing the hymn?
Where justice shall roll down like
Closing words.
We are not done. Reverend Audette Fulbright Fulson. Do not think we are finished. Oh no, we will never be finished, never just done until the light of justice is lit behind every eye. We have come to take back the world that is the inheritance of better children, better lovers, better days. Go now in peace.